If you're watching this video right now, congratulations, you are taking the next step to becoming your best self, most healed self, and stepping into your element. You're probably here because you just finished watching my part 1 to the micro habits. If you didn't, don't worry, we still have 5 more micro habits that are just as good. Just so you know, these micro habits come from my daily routine. They are also science-backed. What I'm doing is using my background in psychology, coupling it with my health and wellness routine, and bringing you habits that I know are going to work both psychologically and spiritually as well. What's up, sweethearts? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Aigner. This is called The Smile Inside Your Heart. On this channel, I make health and wellness content, also healing content, so you can liberate your mind, body, and your soul. All right, let's begin. So we just finished micro habits 1 through 5, ending with our productivity micro habits. Now we are in micro habits 6 through 10, starting with cognitive micro habits. Cognitive micro habits are also defined as habits involved in thought processing, memory, awareness, and problem solving. My first micro habit that I have for you underneath cognitive micro habits is practicing mindfulness, gratitude, and visualization within the first 15 minutes of waking up. Now, I've talked about this on my channel before, and I can talk about it until I'm blue in the face. Utilizing the first 15 minutes out of your sleep is going to set the tone for the rest of your day. I talked about why this is important, but I didn't quite talk about what's happening neurologically while you're doing this habit. So if you don't know, our brain has 5 states. Pause while I look at them up. Okay, I know that I just didn't want to get them wrong for you because then that would be embarrassing, and I didn't want to give you any false information. The brain states include the gamma state, the theta state, the delta state, the alpha state, and the beta state. We move through these states during the day and as we are sleeping. So when you are coming up from your sleep, it's literally like you're coming up from a deeper brain state. When you're coming from a deep sleep, you are entering in what's called the alpha state. The alpha state window is about 15 minutes long from the time you wake up. So psychologically, what's happening during the alpha state? In the alpha state, this is a time period of increased focus, creativity, and this is also the brainwaves where flow state takes place. If you don't know what flow state is, it's like a psychological phenomenon of untethered energy. It's timelessness. It's freedom and creativity. It's just a stream of unbothered consciousness. This is also the state where meditation takes place. I did a study a while back ago in my senior year of undergrad on the neuroscience of meditation. And what they found is that highly seasoned monks actually remain in the alpha state more than people who don't meditate on the regular. That means monks are tapped into a frequency of creativity, imagination, visualization, gratitude, more so than people who don't consistently meditate. So if you are someone who feels as though they don't have time to meditate, but they want to experience the benefits of meditation, optimize those first 15 minutes when you wake up as a meditation and as a practice of mindfulness, gratitude, and visualization. Okay, number 7, which is a memory strengthening micro habit. Saying, remember this, like literally, remember this after something that you want to remember. So honestly, I've been practicing this micro habit since I was probably like 11, and it's taken me this far. I remember being in the backseat of my father's car, and he was listening to Howard Stern. He always had Howard Stern on. And I don't know if it was a commercial or they had a guest or it was something, but I remember the voice of a woman coming through and basically saying that scientists have discovered that if you say, remember this, before the thing that you want to remember, it locks something away in your brain to remember that thing. And listen, I didn't do the science myself. I didn't do the research myself, but I was 11 years old when that happened. And I remember where we were. I remember where I was when I heard it. I remember what I was doing when I heard it. I remembered it to this day. So I feel like it may be right. Like, I don't know, but it may be working, okay? So to this day, like when I need to remember something, I will say, I have a meeting at 3 o'clock. Remember this. I need to film the micro habits video by Sunday. Remember this. And it can also work for like intricate details as well. Like when I put something down, I sometimes forget where I put it. I will look at the thing, put it down, and say, I put my pencil on the windowsill. Remember this. And I will remember where it's at. So remember that. Remember this. Another cognitive micro habit that I started using recently is saying rerouting, the actual word rerouting, when you find yourself in a space of procrastination, overthinking, or anxiety. So I came up with this by myself, but this truly does work for me. When I am deep in a thought or just deep in my head, I sometimes can stay there for a while. I came up with this hack so that way I can have a coping strategy in times of procrastination and anxiety. So what's happening neurologically when you have created this cue in your mind to reroute? Our brains are made up of billions of neurons, okay? And they all rely on each other. They're all connected. They're not just there sending messages out. They're actually connected like this to each other. This is a neuron, okay? There's one neuron here. This is where they touch. And this is the next neuron over here. And they send. They send messages to each other. When the neurons are connected like this, what happens is they form pathways. So this is what it looks like when neurons are not connected. This is what it looks like when neurons are connected into a pathway. When you designate a code word and repeatedly use it in a specific time, i.e. when you're procrastinating or when you're overthinking, what you're doing is you're creating neural pathways. And over time, over prolonged use of that pathway, it's going to strengthen. So every time I say rerouting, it brings me back to myself. It allows me to be mindful and take control of whatever is happening in my brain at the time. It's been working well for my anxiety. And also remember that anxiety is simply fear of the future. And procrastination is the behavior that's preventing your anxieties from coming true. So instead of just staying in that mental space and procrastinating as an outcome, know what's actually happening in your brain and know how to reroute and pivot as quickly as possible. So on the flip side of memory, there is the psychology of forgetfulness as well. When you forget something, the best thing to do is to let it go. Let it go. What's happening in your brain when you're forgetting something, but you still feel it? Like, you know what it is. You can see it in your head, or you can like feel the words of it in your mouth, but it just won't come out. This is what's called tip of the tongue syndrome. And it happens when all the pieces aren't coming together efficiently. So the way we store information is not just, oh, I have a memory, I'm just gonna put it back here. No, you have a memory of what that thing smells like, maybe what that thing feels like, what that thing makes you feel inside. There's so many different aspects to memory, and in our brain, they're found in so many different areas. So for example, a bird. What a bird sounds like, that memory piece will be stored in a different area than what that thing looks like, because our brain processes things in different locations. So when you're recalling something, what is really happening is your brain is going out and seeking those pieces of information from different locations in your brain. When you forget, it's kind of like a domino effect. When you forgot one piece, it kind of holds up the process of gathering the rest of the information. So they say when you're having tip of the tongue syndrome, the best thing to do is literally just let your brain go find it. It naturally wants to find the answer, But if you force it, then you're probably going to force something that doesn't exist. One, you're probably going to fill those gaps with something that is false. The best thing to do is just let your brain go find it. Knowing this, I also apply this hack to when I have lost something in real life. So it's such a relieving feeling as well when you do this. I've lost several things, whether it be my earrings, charger, my phone, just whatever it is. We all lose things throughout the day. But instead of like beating myself up to go and find this thing, which a lot of us do, like we try to go locate something immediately when we lose it. The first thing I do is just sit with myself in stillness, because what I'm trying to first figure out is if this thing is gone, lost, I dropped it into some deep dark abyss and it's nowhere to be found, it's done. Or did I just misplace it and I can't find it right now? I want to sit with those questions first before I start trying to go find it, because both of those answers, the only outcome is to let it go. The only outcome is to let it go. I think about the last place I had this thing, and I will usually get a feeling that it's been claimed, like it's done. Another feeling I'll get is I can feel this thing in my vicinity, but I just don't know where it is. Both answers lead me to letting it go. Because if I feel like, oh, this thing is missing, like the last time I saw this thing, I was on top of a roller coaster. Why would I be on top of a roller coaster? Or the answer is, I feel like this thing is near me, but I don't know where it's at, so I'm gonna let it go. I let go. And every single time I've let it go, honestly, I found the thing. Like, I just stumble upon it the next time I go looking for something. And I really like this because you're trusting yourself, first of all, and allowing you, just like you would need to allow your brain during the tip of the tongue syndrome, to locate these things for you. Sometimes we don't have to work as hard. Sometimes our brains are wired to do things on their own, and our mind is really what takes it and jumbles it all up. Relax your mind, put yourself at ease, and let your brain do what it's meant to do. Okay, the last category of micro habits, which is probably one of my favorites, is subconscious micro habits, otherwise known as habits that become passive over a long period of time during prolonged use. Like I said in my other video, these are all subconscious, but this is like actually, like we're talking like sleeping. Number one, dream journaling. Get you a dream journal. I don't care if you're not a mystic. I don't care if you're not into that spiritually. It doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to associate with the connotations that come with the mysticism of dreams. Let me tell you what dreams are psychologically. Remember how we talked about working memory and how our brains have a limited capacity and how much information and data we can store at once? When we are in our waking day and we are in that state of extreme focus, our brains delegate where it needs to put its energy. And a lot of information, so much information, I want to say like 90-something% of information gets pushed down into our subconscious. And even more so, the things that we don't want to pay attention to. So that's like our fears, our anxieties, our uncomfortable feelings. Everything that our brain decides this is not that important right now gets pushed into our subconscious like a little trap door. And what's happening when we're sleeping is that our conscious brain is finally shut down enough so our subconscious can step in and organize all of those thoughts. So basically what your brain is doing when you're sleeping is trying to make sense of everything that you pushed into it while you were awake. When you get into the habit of dream journaling, you get to know yourself better. You get to see what's going on in your brain. You get to actually sort out your internal world. And what happens is really cool after a long time of dream journaling is you start to remember your dreams even more. So some people have a problem with remembering their dreams, and some people think they don't even dream. That's not true. There's a lot of factors that go into your inability to remember your dream. We can talk about that, but you do dream. And if you want to remember your dreams even more, the best thing to do is start writing them down. Okay, last one, probably the best one because it is so simple. Last subconscious micro habit is to play frequencies or affirmations at night. So this is basically like the inverse of the gratitude, mindfulness in the first 15 minutes of waking up. Now you're gonna do something similar in the 15 minutes that you're going to sleep, because you're also going to be slipping back into that state that we talked about. So I started using frequencies to help me go to sleep in the beginning of my healing journey. And not only is it very comforting and soothing to have like a meditative sound coming through as you're falling asleep, it's also very convenient if you're someone who can't find the time to meditate during your waking day. So a lot of people have come up to me and say like, how do you have time to meditate? How do you have time to do all these other things? Blah, 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 blah. And I will admit, grounding habits are time consuming and they take a lot of energy. Yoga is a grounding habit. Mindfulness is a grounding habit. Journaling is a grounding habit that you need to set aside time for. However, if you're not the person who feels like you have the time, you can optimize the time that you're using to go to sleep. What you do is you just put on a frequency right before you go to sleep, and it's going to help you to slip into that alpha state. And like we said earlier, that alpha state is best for creativity. It's best for mindfulness. It's best for visualization. If you can foster an environment around you that caters to this mindfulness and meditative state, you can learn how to do it without that much energy, i.e. simply just putting on the affirmation in that time period qualifies as your meditation for the day. And you didn't have to do nothing but close your eyes. See, healing can be very simple. Just gotta find those ways. Okay, lovely people. I completely loved doing this video here with you. And comment down below anything that you found helpful. Comment down below anything that you want to see from me in the future. As always, give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I make videos every week with the goal of helping you to become your best self. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Follow that big old smile inside your heart, baby. Bye.